I didn't have enough time. I didn't have enough time to build what I wanted to build today. Hey, woke up this morning 3:50 a.m. Supposed to be getting up at 3:40, but I forgot that I made that adjustment because I'm reading 10 pages a day now with my team of a different book that I'm reading on top of the other book that I'm reading. And so it requires a 3:40 wake up, not a 3:50 wake up, but I'm off of my schedule. Woke up at 3:50 a.m., grabbed my headphones, put them on, grabbed my big cup of water, ice water, make my way downstairs, grab my Morning 5 planner. And in my Morning 5 planner, which if you don't have one of those, I don't have a copy right here, which I should. I have a digital version, but in my Morning 5 planner, there is a quote on the top of every page. If you didn't know that, there's a quote on the top of every page of the planner, and the quote says, or not says, but the quote is actually submitted by members of our community, members of the Rise and Grind community. It's one of my favorite parts of the planner is that it's an opportunity for you and I to connect. I learn a little bit about you, and you get to inspire me. So it's incredible. So every day I wake up, I grab my planner, and I read the quote at the top. Today's quote, which I meant to do a little overlay. Today's quote, I'll just type it as I read it. Today's quote was, "Maturity is choosing restraint when anger seems easier." This was submitted by Doug Newman. Rise and Grind member Doug Newman submitted this powerful quote. Maturity is choosing restraint when anger seems easier. Interestingly enough, I know that might sound simple, but it's hard. How many times, I want you to think about it right now, how many times have you gotten angry and you chose to respond with anger versus choosing to respond with restraint? How many times? Think about it. Because we go back to my kids, right? You think about kids and how they have this inability to control their anger. When they're mad, they just freaking launch it all out, right? They have no restraint. My daughter, Caroline, she's 5 years old. She's mad. She's screaming. Her and Oakland been punching each other lately. It's like UFC up in the house between my 7-year-old and my 5-year-old. And we think this is a childish thing. But if you actually look at it as adults, and if you really look in the mirror, how often when you're angry do you respond with anger versus responding with restraint? I know I do it. And I've been really working on it. I really have, because I really kind of noticed, bro, you're a cool, calm, collected dude. And typically when I'm dealing with other adults, I can stay that way. But there are plenty of times where I get angry and my response is anger. Plenty of times. So I've been working on it. And here's what's fascinating, man, is my daughter Willow, as a parent, she has brought more out of me than any other experience I've had in my entire life. That is the best way to put it. Willow brings out the best and the worst in me, and I have been intentionally going out of my way to just be extra excited every time I see her, to be extra kind every time we have a conversation, to just have restraint, and even if she upsets me or says something or does something, I'm just like, man. Being mature, choosing restraint when anger seems easier. I think it's a great way to start off this week right here on hashtag Rise and Grind. I'm super excited. If you don't know who I am, my name is Glenn Lundy, husband to 1, father to 9, the host of this daily morning show. We've done over 2,000 episodes of this show, and this week we're kicking off a new series, Born in the USA. Let's go. Good morning and welcome to the #1 morning show in America. I am your host, Glenn Lundy, husband to 1, father to 9, author, speaker, and the founder of 800%.life. It's 5:30 a.m. and it's time to rise and grind. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, my friend? How are you, my friend? Dude, today is Monday. That's right, today is Monday, June 29th, 2026. And what's crazy is today is the very first and the very last time it'll ever be Monday, June 29th, 2026. So I want to make sure we make the absolute most, and I do mean the absolute most, of this absolutely incredible day. I'm coming to you live from Lexington, Kentucky. That's right, coming to you live from Lexington, Kentucky, where it is supposed to be a hot one this week. Hi, Liza. I have missed you, my friend. It is supposed to be a hot one this week. That's right, headed into the 4th of July. Here in the Kentucky/Indiana area, as I looked at the weather this morning, we are on a heat advisory. There is something called a heat dome that is settling in going into the 4th of July. I love how they have all these dramatic names for weather conditions these days. The vortex, a frozen vortex, right? Today we have a heat dome. The heat dome is collapsing on the country. Beware! Right? It's a heat dome. So I don't know what that is. I've never, in 48 years of existence, never heard of a heat dome before. But apparently, we have a heat dome coming in. And it's going to be hot right here. But such is summer, right? Like they're talking about a 109 index today. I don't even know what that means, right? But such is summer. Summer is not messing around. What's up, Ramona? How are you? Summer is not messing around. Summer is here. Summer is in full effect. Summer is bringing it this year. It's bringing it, right? And listen, this week at the Lundys is a fun week. It's a fun week. My wife will not agree with me on this. We don't agree on everything. This is one thing we don't agree on. I call this a fun week. She says this is not a fun week. This is 4th of July week at the Lundys. Like 4th of July is the Lundys Super Bowl, all right? Just think about what the Super Bowl is for the NFL. That's what the 4th of July is for the Lundys, all right? We have a big 4th of July celebration every single year. It is our favorite holiday, or at very least, I should say, it is my favorite holiday. And the reason it's my favorite holiday stems from my youth. I grew up in Flagstaff, Arizona, and in Flagstaff, Arizona, we grew up on one side of the tracks, as they say, which there literally is a train that goes through Flagstaff, Arizona every 17 minutes. And if you lived kind of on one side, that was the middle class or maybe the poorer side. And then there was a rich side of the tracks, the continental area. And the continental area had the country club and all the fancy houses, the golf courses, and all those nice things. And very rarely did I have an opportunity as a kid to go over to the rich side of Flagstaff. I had no reason to be over on that side of the tracks for the most part, except for on the 4th of July. Because on the 4th of July, at the driving range, there in Continental, they would set off the fireworks every year. And every year they would have the radio station out there, and all the people would bring their lawn chairs and their blankets, and they'd have all the little glow ropes and so on and so forth. And it would be this big to-do for the fireworks. And it gave me a reason and an excuse to be over in the rich neighborhood, which I just absolutely loved, all those rich white people. It was super fun. And so we would go over early in the day, like 10 o'clock in the morning. They had a basketball court over there, maybe even earlier. And we would play basketball all day. Me and my friend James, my friend Carlton, we would all go over there and we'd play basketball all day long, running shirts and skins out there. And as the day progressed, more and more people would come out and people would watch us play basketball. And they'd have the coolers and we'd have the popsicles and we'd have the ice cream. And it was just this beautiful thing. And there'd be girls, yes, lots and lots of girls. And then as the night would progress, as the sun started to go down, we would all settle in We would all settle in, we'd grab our flags, and we'd have these romantic moments. And if you had a girl there, you could hold her hand, and everybody had their sparklers, and then the fireworks would pop off. And it was just this beautiful, nostalgic, romantic, all-American experience. The burgers, the dogs, the music, and of course, the red, white, and blue. It was amazing. And now, because my family and I have been incredibly blessed over the years, now we get the opportunity to create that. At least in my mind, that's what we do, is we create that for our kids and for their friends and for our neighborhood and for anybody who wants to come. We do the music, we do the burgers and the dogs, and we do the water fights and the opportunities for the boys to meet the girls and for the girls to meet the boys. And just maybe, if you play your cards right, you might get to hold hands with that one girl that you wanted to hold hands with. You might get a kiss from that one boy that you thought was just so cute. For me, I'm hope at the end of the night. My wife gives me a kiss on the lips and says, "Thanks, honey. I love you." So we are headed into the Lundy Super Bowl. And this year is a big year because the 4th of July, we're celebrating 250 years. Ramon, 250 years in the making. This celebration that we will have this weekend is 250 years in the making. Right here in this country that I was born in 48 years ago. Now, me being born here 48 years ago makes me officially That's right. I had to put that little earwig. That officially this week you are going to be singing that song. You're going to be like, "Dang, Glenn, put that in my ear. I can't get it out of my ear." You're going to be singing that song. Mary Lynn Wilkin was already singing it before we even got to this part, guaranteed. But since I was born here 48 years ago, I am officially That's right. I was born in the USA, and many of you that are watching this show were too. I need you to drop it in the comments real quick if you were born in the USA, all right? Just drop it in the comments. Drop the words USA, or you could drop the word born, or just give me a thumbs up, whatever you want to do. But I need to know if you were born in the USA. No offense to my overseas folks. I love you. My Ugandans, I love you. My folks over there in London, I love you. But I need to know right now, who was born in the USA? Drop it in the comments. I need to know. While you're doing that, we got to do some dancing, and we're going to kick off a new series here on this show. We got to do some dancing first, though. We got to get moving. Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, Scott Flansburgh is in the building. For those of you that know, those of you that don't know, this is the part of the show where I need you to hit that share button, all right? Just go ahead and hit that share button. Scott Flansburgh says he was born in the USA. Let's go. Robert Pollard is in the building this morning. This is also the part of the show where I want to say good morning to you, and I want you to say good morning to me. Whether you're watching live or you're watching a replay, say what's up. I'll say what's up back. Let's go. Robert Pollard, good morning. Born in the USA. Bill Harrison was born in the USA. Robert Downey, born in the USA. He's here this morning. Beth Pendleton, born in the USA. Let's go. Ramona was born in the USA. Roddy Rock Hatfield, born in the USA. Mike Rendine is in the building. Kurt McFarland, born in the USA. What's up, Kurt McFarland? Trisha Rue, born in the USA. Trisha Rue. Colleen Higgins, Dylan is here this morning. How you doing, Colleen? Colleen was born in the USA as well. Miss Liza Myers-Borges, she gave us a thumbs up. She must be on a run. She's running. She was born in the USA as well. I love it. I love it. I love it. We've got Marilyn Wilkin, born in the USA. She dropped me a flag. She's up in here. Tara Hope was born in New York. What's up, Tara? Great to see you. Gene Hughes is in the building. Robin Wilshin's in the building, both born in the USA. Trisha's like, I was born here. Tony Thorstad, born in the USA. Tony Schmidt said she was Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, born in the USA. Scott Simons, born in the USA. Mike Larkin, born in the USA. That's what I'm saying. We got a bunch of you. Born in the USA. Yeah, we're going to stick that into your brain whether you like it or not. Who else we got up in here? Gene Hughes, good morning. Luis Grafton Nonis is in the building. Pastor Dra is in the building. All born in the USA. All right, check it out. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to launch a new series this week. And we're going to have a good time. And you're going to love it. And the series is called simply Born in the USA.
Must not advance. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. We choose to go to the moon. Life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery.
All right, look, this week we are going to talk about America, but probably not in the normal way. It's probably not what you're thinking. maybe a tiny little bit about what you're thinking, but it's not what you're thinking because, you know, we do things a little bit different. We are going to talk about 250 years of history. You're like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, 250 years of history. That's what I'm here for, right? We're going to talk about 250 years of history, but we're also going to talk about the future of this country, and we're going to talk about your future and my future, whether you're in this country or not. This week, we are going to talk about faith. We are going to talk about freedom. We are going to talk about opportunities. We're going to talk about responsibilities. We're going to talk about family. We're going to talk about finances. We're going to talk about education. We're going to talk about fitness. We're going to talk about technology. We're going to talk about purpose. And we're going to talk about what it really means to be born in this country at this moment, at this time in history. And today, we're going to start with this idea that you may or may not like, but you have already won the lottery if you were born in the USA. Here's what I mean by that. Most of us do not wake up thinking, I really nailed my birth strategy this season. I did a great job in my life. I nailed this birth strategy. Nobody wakes up and says, great job. Excellent decision being born in America. Really smart move. No, dude, you did not choose to be born in this country. You did not fill out a form in heaven that said preferred country, United States of America, preferred century, 21st, preferred amenities, air conditioning, Chick-fil-A, indoor plumbing, Amazon Prime, and the ability to complain about slow Wi-Fi while holding a supercomputer in my palm of my hand. You didn't choose any of that, my friend. You were born into it. And because you were born into it, it is very easy to forget how rare it actually is. You see, one of the most dangerous things in life is not losing your blessings. One of the most dangerous things in life is getting so used to your blessings that they stop feeling like blessings. That's what happens to us, man. You and I get used to, we get used to things like clean water, don't we? We get used to things like electricity, like, you know, when I got up this morning, my expectation was that there will be nice cold water that's going to come out of my refrigerator and pour directly into my big old purple glass filled with ice. That's the expectation. And when I walk downstairs in my 8,000 square foot house, I expect the lights to be on those stairs, and I expect my house to be secure and no one else or nothing else to be in it other than my family, my kids, and my wife. And I expect to be able to go into my theater and turn on my lights and grab my planner and write down my gratitudes. And then I expect to be able to come in here. What a gift. I expect to be able to come into this studio right here with my 3 little cameras and my fancy dancy light system and my fancy dancy microphone and all my songs and my sounds. And I just expect the power to frickin' work. We get used to electricity. We get used to grocery stores. We get used to hospitals. We get used to the fact that if we want to learn anything, we can simply pull out our phone, ask a little robot that I've named her Chatra. If we can get Chatra to explain anything to us, like we were 5 years old if we want, in any format, in any method. We can access any type of information at any time from our fingertips. My daughter yesterday was in the back of the car, and she was talking with ChatGPT. She was Savannah. She was talking with ChatGPT on her phone. She was asking it some questions. She was learning some things. We have blessings that sometimes we forget that they're blessings. I watched this Broadway performance called Hamilton. And in Hamilton, at some point, it talks about the Federalist Papers. And I don't really know or understand exactly what all the Federalist Papers are. And it talks about how they wrote like 85 different papers or so on and so forth, right? And let's be honest, those guys back then, they were brilliant. But the way they wrote these papers, it's like they were getting paid by the word. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't even get through it. But nowadays I can just pop all that stuff. I can just pop all that information into Chatra or some sort of AI and have it broken down to me. Like here's my point. If you were born in America, you were born into one of the most unusual, unbelievable, opportunity-filled environments in human history. Like dead serious. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not even going to go as far as to say, and this will get me. Oh, this will get me. I'm surprised. They're going to put me up. If I even say that sentence, that's another thing I'm just going to say trouble. This will get me in trouble. I'm not going to go as far and say that America is the greatest country on planet Earth. I'm not going to go as far as to say that. You know why I'm not going to say that? Because I haven't been to all of them. I can't say that. I have a picture of what China looks like. I have a picture of what Russia looks like. I have a picture of what Egypt looks like. Like I have a picture of what these things look like based on what I've been told, but I've never freaking been there. So I can't specifically say. All I know is that if you were born here, you were born in a very unusual, unbelievable, opportunity-filled environment. That I know. And though it's not perfect and it's not painless and it's not without its own issues, it's still incredibly rare if you look at it statistically. You see, the United States of America has roughly 4% of the world's population. Did you know that? Did you know that? 96 out of 100 people on this planet live in some country other than the United States. 96 out of 100. Imagine 100 people in a room. 4 of those 100 people here in the United States. And somehow those 4 of the 100 people that are in the room, guarantee you, somehow those 4 would be arguing over what temperature to set the AC at. Because that's us, bro. That's us. We're like, oh, there's a heat dome. It's cold. It's going to be hot. It's got to be 70, bro. I walked in this morning. Somebody on my team had set the thermostat to 68. I walked into my studio this morning, and I walked into my studio this morning, and I was like, ooh, there's a little bit of a chill in here. Because if it ain't 70, homie, guarantee you, those 4 out of 100 would be complaining about the temperature in the room. Guarantee it. But listen, those 4 people, those 4 out of 100, live in a country that has produced an unbelievable amount of innovation, an unbelievable amount of wealth, an unbelievable amount of freedom, an unbelievable amount of generosity, an unbelievable amount of technology, an unbelievable amount of creativity, and an unbelievable amount of influence. We're talking everything from the airplane to the light bulb, the personal computer, the internet, the iPhone, Disney, Hollywood, hip hop, rock and roll, the moon landing, maybe, the assembly line, the Super Bowl, the 4th of July, which is the Lundy Super Bowl, hot dogs and hamburgers. America, bro. So when I say you won the birth lottery, I am not saying to you that life is easy. I'm not saying that at all. Some of you listening right this second have very hard lives. I get that. Some of you are currently or have been completely and utterly broke and destitute. I get that. I've been there. Some of you have been brutally betrayed, stabbed in the back, beaten, attacked. I get that. Some of you grew up in absolute and utter chaos. I get that. Some of you were abused. Some of you were abandoned. Some of you had to fight for literally like every inch. You had to fight and claw, tooth and nail for every freaking scrap. I get that. I know that. I understand that. I experienced all of that. All of that. I know what it feels like to be homeless. I know what the experience is like to be in and out of jail. I know what it looks like to look, or like what it feels like to look in the mirror and to not like the person staring back. I know that. So when I say you won the birth lottery, please understand, I'm not saying your life has been easy, and that's not what we're going to talk about this week. We're not going to talk about an easy life this week. I am just saying the soil that you were planted in has possibility. And there is plenty of soil around this planet that does not. And that, my friends, is the difference. This country, America does not guarantee that your life will be easy, but America does guarantee that you have a shot. And you just having that shot, my friend, is sacred. Because there are places in the world today, in 2026, where your last name ultimately decides your future. There are places around the world today in 2026 where your gender ultimately decides your future. There are places right now around the world in 2026 where your government ultimately decides your future. There are places around the world where your village, your tribe, your family, your zip code ultimately decides your future before you ever even take your first freaking breath. And again, America, flawed. It has flaws, real flaws, painful flaws, historical flaws that continue to get repeated over and over and over again, current flaws. But there is still something extraordinary about a nation where a person can start with nothing and build something. There's something about a nation where a kid born into poverty can become a business owner. There's something to be said about a nation where a person who made a mess of their first 30 years of their life can still write another chapter. There's something to be said about a nation where a guy like me, who went to jail 17 times in his 20s, can wake up one day, surrender his life to God, rebuild a family, build a company, speak on stages, create a show, and throw the biggest 4th of July party in the county every single year to inspire others, to motivate others, to educate others. It's not normal. It's not common. It's not guaranteed, but it is America. Now, on that note, I want to anchor today's show in a little bit of scripture. Luke 12:48, in the best-selling book of all time, it says, "To whom much is given, much will be required." And that, my friends, will set the tone for what we're going to talk about this week on our new series, Born in the USA.